Jason Bourne hits theaters this weekend, and I was really excited to see it. If you are paying attention to my channel, you know that I really liked the 3 Bourne movies with Matt Damon. This is the 4th with Matt Damon, not counting the one with Jeremy Renner. And I'll preface everything that I'm about to say with this. I like the movie. I think it's a good movie. There are a lot of things to like about this movie. The action is great. It's very competently directed. I do think that the story presents some interesting ideas, especially towards the end. And it has all the fun and exciting attributes that you would expect from a Bourne movie with Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass. Alicia Vikander joins this movie as a CIA operative, like an up-and-coming CIA agent. And she's probably the best performance in the movie. She's like my favorite actress. She's super good. Now, what I want to say is that I went into this movie, I went to the theater, and I didn't read or watch any reviews of the film because I wanted to form my own opinion on it, because I did happen to wander upon the IMDb page, and the IMDb rating is fine, but the Metascore isn't that great. The Rotten Tomatoes is it's getting some mixed reviews, so I didn't read or watch any of them because I wanted to form my own opinion. And I did watch them before I made this review, because I want to know what other people think of it, because that's what I do after I watch a movie. And a lot of people have gripes with the story, the script, the very similar beats that it goes through. I'll respond to that by saying that the 2 sequels, Supremacy and Ultimatum, also go through those same beats. It's what we should expect from a Bourne movie now. It's a little bit disappointing. I wish that something new was presented, but that's the way it is. And a lot of people are confused by the ending, the story in general, really the script they found to be lacking. I'll agree that the dialogue isn't really up to snuff, but I found that the plot was actually good. It's nothing great, but the plot is pretty good, and I do like all of the character arcs. I found that the idea that was presented, I should probably tell you that there's going to be mild spoilers coming up. The ideas that were presented near the end, and the way that the character arcs formed near the end, were very satisfying in a very bleak way, if you know what I mean. This isn't a Bourne movie with more of an optimistic ending, like, say, Identity, or even Supremacy a little bit. Supremacy is an optimistic ending, where Identity is a happy ending. This is more of a bleak ending, more of the idea that people change and different people come into positions of power with new ideas, but somehow it all ends up the same anyway. That's pretty much the moral of the story, and I think that it's really clever and actually really relevant in a lot of ways to what's going on in our society right now. Also, as I mentioned, the action is very good. Every design component of the movie is very satisfying. I found the sound design, sound mix, and editing to be up to par with the Bourne Ultimatum, which notably won Academy Awards for all 3 of those categories that I just mentioned. Unfortunately, where that doesn't quite work for me is the fact that I found Jason Bourne to be more of thriller type, It wasn't quite as fast-paced as some of the other movies in the franchise, and it wasn't quite as action-oriented as some of the other movies in the franchise. Notably, I would say that Ultimatum is more of the action movie, where Supremacy is the fast-paced thriller. This one is like a slow chess match, which is something kind of different, but I don't think it's what we need for the Jason Bourne franchise. We need the writing to be clever, and we need the actions of the characters involved to be clever. We need all the characters to be operating from a place of higher intelligence, and we didn't really get that from this movie. I like the structure of the chess match that's going on through the entire movie. I like that, and it's almost like a 3-way chess match throughout most of the movie. But I think that it was missing some of the higher intelligence. I also think that maybe something that was missing is a little bit of a tweak in tone. Something that I really enjoyed about the previous 3 Bourne movies is that the 3 of them, while having consistent tones, all 3 of them offered something a little bit different in tone. Identity, more of a character piece, something you would expect from a spy movie about a guy with amnesia, it's a mystery. That's what I would call the first one, a mystery. The second one is a very fast-paced, angry thriller, revenge movie. and I would call the third one a straight up like spy action movie. And I found this one to be a little bit complacent. And what I mean by complacent is that they adhered very much to the Jason Bourne tone. And I would have been skeptical of the movie if it went overboard with something that I wouldn't call the Jason Bourne tone. But I felt that they sat back in the Jason Bourne tone that they had established. I'm okay with the fact that a lot of the elements of the movie are formulaic by now. If you saw my most recent video on the Jason Bourne movies, you would be able to tell that there's a very clearly defined formula for these movies. And this movie hits all those same beats as predicted. But what would have been nice is a little bit of a difference in tone, if you know what I'm saying. Walking out of the theater, I thought I would have issues with the ending, but as it actually marinated in my head, I actually came to like the ending and the ideas that were presented. I didn't have issues with the ending. I enjoyed the set pieces, the action was satisfying, and as a Bourne movie, it's a nice addition. Being that it's not the best Bourne movie, in fact, out of the Matt Damon movies, I'd probably call it the worst, honestly, but it's still a good movie, and it's still worth watching. And I understand that that's a bit weird to hear after I just spent many consecutive minutes breaking down what I didn't quite like about this movie. And that's because when a movie like this comes out that relies a lot on your knowledge of the previous three movies, which is true. So when a movie relies on your knowledge to that level, it has to be compared to the first three. It has to, because it's relying on the first three. And on that level, it's just a smidgen disappointing. But if another Bourne movie were to come out with Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass, I would go watch it opening night, just like I did this one. And I am curious to know whether or not Damon and Greengrass plan to make another one. I know execs at the studio have gone on record saying that they would love Greengrass and Damon to make Bourne movies forever because they're great and everybody loves them. And you'll only understand what I'm about to say if you've actually seen Jason Bourne, the new movie. But I think this movie offers up an ending that's weirdly and uniquely conclusive. What I mean by that is that walking out of the theater you might be like, oh, well the next movie's gonna be crazy. But then you start to think about the ideas that were presented and you're thinking that's actually good finality to what could be a thought piece, these four movies. Anyway, I had a lot to say about Jason Bourne. If you have as much to say as I do, comment below and we'll talk about it because I really want to talk about this movie with people with different views because I want to understand all that. My next review will probably be Suicide Squad, so hopefully that's good.